And welcome to the Barry Foster Show, coming to you from the Ridge Florist Studios in the City of Charm, beautiful downtown Avon Park. If you have any thoughts, ideas, or suggestions, people would like us to talk to, or subjects you'd like us to broach, just put them in the comments below, and we'll be glad to get to them for you. We have a jam-packed week coming up, and we appreciate everybody who's been tuning in, liking and subscribing and watching these videos. Right now on the phone, we have Donna Doubleday from Careersource Heartland, someone we've been talking with for years. Good afternoon, Donna. How you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having us today.
It's good to have you on. I know that we have for years been having your Careersource experts on, talking about everything from job availabilities to resume building, interviewing. And I was wondering, could we do a little Careersource 101? Do you know how many different Careersource organizations there are in the state of Florida?
In Florida, there are 21 workforce boards. So, yes, 21 Careersource entities. That's not counting the state as the overseer, but 21 workforce boards.
And now, Careersource Heartland is DeSoto, Hardy, Highlands, and Okeechobee. Are some of these multi-county Careersource organizations?
Many of them are. Not all of them, but yes, many of them are.
When you have people who are looking for jobs, and I guess you get it from both ends, people who are looking for people and people who are looking for jobs, does this come at any additional cost?
Yeah, actually, these services are paid for by your tax dollars. So no, our services are provided to the community at no dollar cost.
So let's, I guess, start from the employer's side. Do you have a lot of local employers who come in and say, gee, I wish we had this kind of person or that kind of person to take a job?
Yeah, we have regular customers, businesses that will post their jobs, just pick up the phone and say, hey, this is what we're looking for. But we also have a business team that goes out knocking on businesses' doors, because the more businesses that are aware of who we are, same as job seekers, the more folks that are aware, the better we can serve our community in general, and the better we can develop the workforce to meet our community's needs.
Do you have folks that are driving around looking for help wanted signs and say, hey, look, we can help you out with that?
We actually do. That's what our team does. And actually, any of us that are out there and happen to see a help wanted sign can stop in and just see how we can perhaps help fill that job for that employer.
Do you have I don't know, a networking where you go out and look for these kinds of things, or are there certain job trends of employers that are looking for certain kind of skilled or semi-skilled employees?
That's a big question too. So there are a lot of things that we do for networking. There are advisory councils and committees that we serve on that are made up of businesses and education and community entities. And we have those as well. We have an education and industry consortium right now that serves as an independent advisory committee to our board. That we have businesses that and education and economic development. We work very closely, and also with the chambers, working with the chambers. Networking. It's chamber events. We do networking there. With our school districts and the college and just our partners in general. And then there's a lot of word of mouth too that helps with that. One employer says, hey, go see Careersource, you've got needs, or one job seeker says, hey, they helped me find a job, they can help you. So I'm not sure if that answered your question or what you were looking for, but yes, there are a lot of activities that are occurring. And these things occur, we do them locally, but our other Careersource sisters and brothers do the same throughout the state.
If there's a person that comes in looking for a job and he needs to learn how to run a stamping machine, run some piece of equipment, is there an educational component where the employer says, look, we'll get them in and we will teach them how to do what it is we need so we can have an employee who can do maybe a specialized job on working on fiberglass boats, whatever it might be?
There are a lot of employers that will do that will provide that training, and there may be funding available that we can help with to help that employer. It could be on the job training, or it could be the employer has a new, some new software or some new equipment that they need to train their current employees on in order for their current employees to retain their jobs. So there may be funding to help with that as well, to enhance the skills of the workforce in general. There's also we have scholarships for more formal job training. So somebody wants to be a nurse. We know the medical field is booming out there. So somebody wants to be a nurse or a radiology technician or a CDL driver, something like that. We have funds to help our job seekers gain those skills also.
Are there trends that you're seeing in the kind of jobs that people are looking for? I know that one trend that I've been seeing for about the past 40 years is a CDL, a truck driver. If you have a CDL license, guys can get them a job yesterday.
That is still the case. CDL drivers are still in huge demand, and most jobs in the medical field very much in huge demand. One of the other things we're seeing in terms of trends, though, is that employers are willing to do some training themselves. If there's not a required license for someone to do the job, they really are willing to do some on-the-job training or some incumbent worker training, if you will, to get the skills up of people who are interested and willing to learn. So it really depends on the job itself. What other kinds of trends are there? Again, still medical and still CDL, as you mentioned, are very huge. Manufacturing is up and coming. It's growing. We're seeing some different trends in manufacturing, and some of that is value-added agriculture type manufacturing. So food products and that kind of thing, we're starting to see some increase in that.
Are there some base pathway jobs, getting a job in the motor pool, and if you do well there, then there's a pathway to being a supervisor, a director, whatever, going kind of up through the chain there?
Thank you for that question. That's an awesome question. That is actually something we work with our businesses on all the time to try to determine what are the career pathways. How do we help people gain the skills, and how do we all put our resources on the table so that the workforce can be the strongest workforce we can have locally, and then statewide from a Careersource standpoint. So trying to understand what are the entry level jobs, and then what does it take to get to the next step, and what does it take to get to the next step, and is that on the job training, is that formal training, and how do we get that training in place so that people can move forward into those other positions? That's an awesome question.
Well, in Highlands County, is there a typical job seeker? Is it a young male, 21 to 25? Is it a retiree that's looking, who's moved down and his wife wants to get him out of the house, so he's looking for something to do? Is there a typical person that applies for a job?
No, we actually serve a universal customer. So we see folks coming in here, young folks, older folks, middle-aged, anything, and people with skills, with people with unskilled, people that have never worked before. We've had people with doctorate degrees coming in looking for work, and bachelors, and different levels of skill. One of the things that we find is that folks that come in, sometimes they may have lost their job, or they may be looking for something different, and they don't always understand what skills they have that will transfer to other types of positions out there. So that's also one of the things we like to work with people on, to help them understand. We get folks, especially folks who have lost their jobs, and they're not real sure. They're kind of devastated. They've done something for years, and now what am I going to do now? The job isn't there anymore. And working with them to help them understand, hey, you've got a ton of skills, and this will transfer to this, and this will transfer to that. Sometimes that means a little bit of extra training, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it means just updating and upgrading a resume to show that the skills you have actually do match this other job out there. So those are things we work on with folks all the time. Resumes is a big service that we offer, resume development. We've got folks that come in that either haven't done a resume in years or have never done a resume, or maybe have done a resume, but you know that what employers are looking for changes all the time, and what they're looking for in a resume changes. So we try to keep up with the trends of what employers are looking for, so that we can make sure that folks, when they're doing their resume, they're actually being able to sell themselves with that document.
Well,
get their foot in the door.
The transferable skills that you were speaking of, is that the soft skills I've heard so much about things that you can transfer, that you might even in yourself not know that you're good with it? The ability, say, for a waitress who knows how to handle customers can do customer relations, other kinds of jobs that don't necessarily mean standing on your feet all day.
That's exactly, yes, but not just the soft skills. It could be the hard skills as well. There could be something that somebody's utilized spreadsheets and maybe somebody's been an accountant and they don't realize that the spreadsheets that they've done might transfer to a completely different clerical type position that may be out there. Even a CDL driver, most people would understand heavy equipment operation. They probably could do. But are there other types of driving positions, or even with the types of logs that they keep? How does that transfer into logistics, some sort of other logistics and distribution type job? Dispatching, those kind of things that it might transfer into. So it really depends on the job and what type of, whether it's a hard skill or a soft skill that could transfer. Soft skills are huge, though. I'm glad you brought that up, too, because that is one of the things our employers, that's probably the biggest thing our employers are looking for right now. Show me somebody that really wants to work, that's going to come to work every day, put their phone down, take direction, and I will train them. So there are a lot of employers out there, again, who are willing to put time and effort into training the right person. It's just finding the right person and helping the job seeker find the right environment for them. That's one of the things when we're talking to employers that we're also looking at. What's the culture of your organization? What does it look like? What kind of people are your best employees? What are how do you treat your employees? Besides what the pay is and what the benefits are, what are the job duties? And then working with the job seeker, what types of skills do you want to do? What do you like doing every day? You don't want to send somebody to a job where they have to stand all day long doing the same thing over and over if they really want and really need a lot of variety in their day to be satisfied at their work. Sometimes you and I have had conversations about sometimes people will take a job because they need a job, but they actually hate that job. And they're constantly either feeling miserable, and if you don't really like your job, you're probably not going to be really good at it, and it's going to be miserable getting up and going every day. And so one of the things we try to do is help people find the type of work that they're going to enjoy and get them matched into that environment, at the same time helping the business or the employer find the job seeker. Because if you're happy, you're gonna it's just your day's gonna fly. You're gonna get a lot of work done. Your employer's gonna be happy with you. Promotions come with that kind of thing. Wage increases generally come. It's just so finding the right match is a good part of what we all do in our Careersource entities.
Yes, my sainted father used to say, Skipper, it's easier to get a job when you've got a job, because somebody has put enough faith in you to give you a paycheck, and even if it's not something you want, you can look to either transfer sideways or move up actually, and get the kind of job you're actually looking for.
Your dad was a smart man. That's absolutely true today.
You mentioned resumes, and resumes for people to think, well, I've got a resume. When did you make it? Well, I made it back in 1970, and it's just fine. They have really changed a lot. It's not what you normally see on your job application. It's something a little bit more sophisticated than that.
Correct. And it really depends on the job and what the employer is looking for too. You do want to make that. That's one of the folks that one of our employees calls it your sales brochure. And we kind of view it that way. That's your sales brochure. So you want to focus that resume on the skills that you have that the employer is looking for. And everything else that you did in your life right now may be really important to you and may come in handy on the job. But right now you've got a very short window of time to catch that employer's eye to get them interested in calling you in for an interview. So yes, resumes, they tend to be, for the most part, they're 1 to 2 pages. No longer than 2 pages, employers will toss them. They don't have time to look, and have to be set up depending on your skills and the skills that the employer is looking for. And that's, as I mentioned, that's what we try to keep up with, so that we can help folks put their resume together. You may have 10 different resumes depending on your skills and the type of your work that you're looking for, and they may be similar but not quite the same, because if you're looking for something, you want to match that resume to the skills the employer is looking for, obviously the skills that you have. And you mentioned applications too, because a lot of businesses, what's important now too is how people fill out their applications. And so we do some general guidance on that as well. And applications are important, and some businesses have software that screen those applications before they ever get to a person to look at. So there are certain things you need to make sure when you're completing an application that you put in your application, or you'll get passed right over and wonder, well, I have all those skills. Why did they never call me? So those are some of the kind of things we work with our job seekers on also, to help them understand, okay, for this application, they're going to use this system. This application is going to use this system. Make sure you put these skills in there versus these skills.
So if I go into my local Careersource, you can kind of help me craft my resume, and they say, watch out when you fill out these things, and make sure you get your keywords in your resume, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Your keywords, and one of the things, just as a tip, one of the things that people have a tendency to do if an employer asks for a resume and an application, which still happens, people will just put on their application "see resume," but if you look at the directions on the application, it says fill out all sections completely, even if you submit a resume. And if you don't fill out all sections, again, your application is going in the I'm not going to talk to these people file. So those are tips. That's a tip for anybody that may be listening or watching, but also those are the kinds of things we work with. We see, you and I sometimes talk about what you see on social media. And a lot of folks that are saying, hey, nobody's hiring out there, or who's hiring out there? There are a lot of businesses hiring out there. And we try to keep our pulse on who's hiring. And again, that's statewide. That's not just local. That's all Careersources try to do that. Who's hiring? The system that we use, the database that we use, is a statewide database, but it not only does it have the jobs in there that we're locally knocking on the door or businesses are giving to us directly, but it also spiders in jobs. So It's an opportunity for a one stop where people can come in and see all different jobs that are out there, what's out there, and then we can guide them in how to apply. We can make referrals to a lot of those. But we also on social media, we see, well, I've applied to all these jobs and nobody's contacted us. So I would invite anybody to come in. Is there something on the resume or application that's keeping them from calling? Or if people are getting interviews but not getting hired, hey, come on in, let's talk about that, and maybe we can even do some mock interviewing and maybe some tips. It's surprising how many folks may say one little thing that they don't even realize they're saying, or have one little thing they're doing they don't realize they're doing, that can keep them from getting that job when they would have otherwise gotten it had they not said that or had they not done that. One of the things that another tip that a lot of our employers, they watch people when they come in to interview, and if the person's coming in, if they're coming late, that's a red flag to them. If they're coming in and they're on their phone and they sit there on their phone waiting to be seen, sometimes that, depending on the employer, sometimes that will be a red flag to an employer.
So when you have it, there's a lot of people who probably haven't had a job interview for a long time here in Highlands County. I think throughout the state of Florida, we might have, how do I put this gently, older job applicants. You do kind of help people with interviews as well, to kind of know what to look for, know how to show up, dress for success, that kind of thing.
We absolutely do. That's a good part of what we do. One other thing about that, one other tip, if I could do this, is social media. A lot of employers are checking social media also. So be careful, folks. That's another thing that we talk to people about. Be careful what your social media pages look like and what you're putting on there. Because if you're looking for work, because indeed, a lot of employers are checking that. But yes, we do mock interviews. We do some general interview, just general interview discussion and talking, but also mock interviews that we actually enjoy working with people and getting feedback. Occasionally, we'll have an actual employer that will come in, or multiple employers that will come in and do mock interviews as well and give the individual feedback. And that is often very helpful. Again, we sometimes don't know what we are saying that is stopping us from getting hired until somebody points it out to us. So trying to, the dress for success and the dressing for an interview. Sometimes if people are close enough, we'll ask them, hey, you've got that interview? Hey, swing by, let me see how you dress, so that we can provide some feedback, how you're dressing for that, so we can provide some feedback. Again, you've got different employers that have different standards for interviews. Different employers check to see how people are coming in. How are you dressed just to come in and pick up an application? And I might think, hey, it doesn't matter if I go in and I've got my hair up in no makeup, and I've got my cutoff shorts and my sandals, and I've just finished yard work, and I'm coming in all sweaty, but I'm going to swing by and pick up that application because I want to go to work for this company. But that company may be looking also at how you're coming in to pick up that application. And so those are, again, tips that we talk to our job seekers about, and things that we talk to our employers about, so that we can help better understand what our employers, what are they really looking for, and how do we find good matches for them.
Donna, I know that Careersource Heartland does a lot of special events, a basic computer workshop, ways to do your resume, re-employment applications, energizing your job search. Is that something that a lot of the Careersource facilities will do to help people?
Most career, yes, I would say all career sources. I won't say they have the exact same workshops. That would be dependent on the area, but that type of workshop is very prevalent in the career source entities throughout the state. And the services, the same services that I'm talking about here, the same things that we're just discussing, the tips and the resumes and the mock interviews and all those things are available through most career sources. And I say most, every career source entity throughout the state has a different board, a different, we're funded with the same federal funding. However, the amounts of funding, and there may be special grants and other sources of funding that impact what services you provide. And each workforce board is looking to enhance the local workforce as well as the state workforce. So we might do something locally that maybe Polk doesn't do, but then Polk may do something that we don't do. But they're very similar services.
Once you get in the system, let's say Careersource Heartland or Careersource Polk is going to have a job fair, then you get that notification so that if you're coming in, you can kind of see what's being offered by the folks that are doing it, and they've got tables set up, and you can talk to them one-on-one right there.
Correct. Oh, job fairs are awesome. And yeah, it doesn't matter where you're registered in the state, if you're, or where you are, or whether you're registered, because most of us will help you get registered on the spot for services. And then career fairs, whether it's career fairs, hiring events. Sometimes hiring events might be one employer that's in a center looking to hire, or it may be multiple employers coming in. Sometimes it's multiple employers for one industry, and sometimes it's just a couple of different employers. Not really big enough to want to call it a job fair, but a couple of different employers. We tend to do more one-on-one employers, but we have done some industry specifics. And then the hiring events could be at a career center, or they could be at the employer's event.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and if you're in our system and we're sponsoring anything like that, we're going to send that out. We're going to blast it out to the customers to our job seekers, so they know that those events are happening. And if we know that another entity, another career source is having an event, we will blast that as well.
Well, I know you have a location here in Highlands County in Sebring, and you also have locations in DeSoto and Hardy, Okeechobee, and the other counties as well.
We do, and career sources throughout the state. I won't say they have an entity in every county. Most, though, will offer virtual. Many of us, especially since COVID, have gotten more comfortable with offering services virtually or electronically. And so, but we do focus on the people within our given area for the most part. Can I mention something else?
Sure.
That the state is really focusing on right now, that there is a real push. I know federally there's a push, but the state is pushing for apprenticeships also. And that's another mechanism by which an employer can train their own and get some high quality employees, and a job seeker can get some really good skills. So we're trying to also focus on apprenticeships locally, but the state is doing the same. Career sources throughout the state are doing the same. So, and if an employer is interested in being its own sponsor, we'd love to talk to them. And job seekers who are interested in apprenticeships, we'd love to talk to them as well.
Donna, I know that on Careersource Heartland, I'm going to take a flyer and figure that it's on all the career sources. You really can search for jobs all over the state of Florida with a link to Employ Florida. You can really kind of look. And I think even some of the most economically challenged people that I know, can get on their phones, come to the website, look at Employ Florida, whether they're looking from Pensacola to Miami and any place in between. They can probably find a job, filter the location you're looking for and filter the kind of job you're looking for, and go that way and find a job that way.
Absolutely. I mean, you just said it. It's a state system, and frankly, sometimes there are jobs outside the state. And I mentioned earlier that it spiders jobs in, so sometimes those jobs are out of state. Sometimes there are remote jobs that are posted on there. But yeah, and it is Employ Florida you can access it by your phone or your computer. And search for those jobs. There are some jobs you can't just directly apply for that way. You may have to contact your local career source to apply. That's generally at the choice of the employer, because the employer would like a little assistance with screening qualified candidates. But
yeah, that's something
you can apply directly.
That's something that I'd forgotten about. And if you're an employer and you want to make sure that whoever shows up just didn't get out of the donut factory to operate a stamping machine. Some people who are qualified, who have some experience in this area, or who are able to take over a job like that, you'll get 2 or 3 people who are really qualified, as opposed to 30 people, 27 of which who are absolutely not qualified.
Right. That's one of the benefits we think that we offer to employers. There are a few systems out there. There are several systems out there that will match. I won't name any names, but will match an employer to a job. I mean, an employee to an open job seeker. However, the employer may get 100 applicants that don't have any of the skills that they're looking for. And they have to screen through all those people. So yes, us being able to do that for them saves them a ton of time. And if there is somebody that maybe doesn't have all the skills, but may have most of what or a good part of what the employer is looking for, then we'll just pick up the phone and call the employer and see if they're interested. Hey, this person has all these things. Are you interested in this? And in seeing this person, and 99% of the time they will say, sure, send them over to me.
So you're doing kind of a matchmaking thing. So if I apply for a job and I get a job and I'm working in a job, and I come to Careersource and I talk to whoever my person is, and look, if you find something better, I'm always up to moving up. Let me know. And they say, well, Barry has all these qualities, he'd be a great landfill employee. And you would call Barry and say, look, this job is opening up. If you'd like to go apply, we think that you've got the your resume shows that you've got all the talent for this. You may want to get on over there. Is that kind of an ongoing service that you can get through Careersource?
Yes, as long as you're looking, and the case, and I want to say that your file is still open. If you've closed your file and you haven't sought employment for a while, we haven't talked to you, it may not come up. I mean, we served over 2,000 people a year just locally here.
Wow.
So keeping up with those numbers it gets a little tough. So if the case is closed in the system, it may not come up. However, if you're actively looking, we know that, yes, and it works both ways. It works for both the job seeker. Yep, we found this. Hey, this is out there. You might be interested. What do you think? But it works the other way also for the employer. Hey, we've got this person who doesn't quite have everything, or it may be an employer that we work with all the time that doesn't have an open position, but we know this is the kind of person that this is the kind of person who has the skills they're looking for. Then we also will do that. We'll call the employer, and that's called a job match also, but we'll call the employer and say, hey, got a possibility for you. Are you interested there? So it works both ways, yes.
Donna, I know that you guys get together there from the different career sources, either in person or virtually, and talk. we've heard so much about the great influx of new people moving to Florida and coming in. I would assume many of them would be looking for jobs. Have we seen here, or have you heard other places to say we have so many people coming in now looking for employment? Are you seeing that kind of push locally or on a statewide basis?
I think statewide, you've got a lot of folks coming in. They're going. We see some. We do see people moving in here, and we do see folks coming in looking for work. We see more retirees, I think, coming in here right now. And sometimes they're looking for work and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're looking for volunteer situations, and we can sometimes point them in the right direction as well, or something that will maybe help them with what they're looking for. And then you've got folks that are moving here for a lot of different reasons. We see a lot of people move here for family. They've got maybe older parents. They're now coming here to help take care of, but they are looking for work. We had somebody come in the other day that had moved to another part of the state and came here to for some activities that they knew some people here and decided they liked it here better. So it really depends. Depends on what you're looking for. But we've got plenty of people looking for work, and we've got plenty of jobs out there.
So Donna, if there's let's start on this end. If there are employers out there saying, "Hey, you know what? This sounds pretty good. We've advertised a lot of places. We can't find the kind of people we're looking for. Maybe a Careersource Heartland or Careersource Polk or Sarasota, who's ever listening, they may have that kind of person. What's their path to go and get in touch with you and say, look, we're looking for this, that, and the other thing. Can you help us out?
But that's a really good question. If you look up Careersource, most career sources are going to come up if you look up Careersource Polk or Careersource Heartland, and there will be contact information on there. Some of us have on our websites alone. I would tell you, people can call me and I will tell them I can connect them to whoever it is statewide that they want to, that they would like to, But I'm not always available in the office. So probably the quickest and easiest would be for them to go to the Careersource Florida website.
Okay.
And that is careersourceflorida.com.
Yeah, and when I like, for instance, if somebody in Winter Haven's looking for a job, I put in Careersource Winter Haven, and it directs me to Careersource Polk. So if you're an employer, you put in the name of your city, Lakeland, Jacksonville, whatever, you'll probably get close, and then they just call you guys up and say, look, I'm from the Berry Foster Widget Corporation. We're looking for some widget makers. Can you help us out?
Well, that's a wonderful, that's a wonderful tip. Thank you. I didn't realize that. I know on Careersource Florida's website, they have under Career Services, they have a Find Your Local Team. And you can look under the county that you're in, and it will tell you who you can click on there, and it will give you the contact information on who to call also.
And so if you're looking for a job and you're in Okeechobee County, if you were to type in Careersource Okeechobee on your search engine, it would probably come up Careersource Heartland, and then you can go from there and find a job near you.
I'm gonna do that.
I think that's a good idea.
I think that's a really good idea too. Look at that, Careersource Okeechobee, and here we come. There you are.
Yeah, see,
that's a wonderful tip. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm full of good ideas, So, but I want to tell you, you guys have done a great work in helping people find gainful employment, find something that if you find a job you like, you don't have to work another day in your life. you know, and your crew over there. I don't know if his Les is still over there or not, but he's a gem. Les Wood is just a gem over there, and yeah, ask him and tell him Barry sent me. Okay, but
I will.
At any rate, if you want to find out more, it's easy to do. If you're in this Quad County area, Highlands, Hardee, DeSoto, or Okeechobee, you can go to Careersource Heartland on the web and find that. And if you're in another area of the county or the country, Careersource Polk, Careersource Sarasota, you can find them. In how many did you say? There's 21 different career sources in the state?
Correct.
And so you can find it there and find a job. Donna, I know I've taken up a lot of your time here. I really appreciate you spending some time with us today and talking about Careersource, how to find good employees, and how folks can find good employment.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome, and I appreciate your time and you're helping us get the word out there.
And if you want to get in touch with Careersource Heartland, it's easy. It's 863-385-3672, or just look up Careersource Heartland on the web. So, Donna, again, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, too.
You've been listening to the Barry Foster Show here on YouTube. Remember, if you have any thoughts, ideas, or suggestions, just put them in the comments below. People you'd like to hear us talk to, or topics you'd like us to broach, we're always glad to do that. We have some really good interviews following this one coming up in the next couple of weeks. Tune in each and every day right here on the Barry Foster Show YouTube channel. As we continue to search for truth, justice, and the American way, this is Barry Foster, and we'll see you next time.